I think honestly we had it much easier than juniors right now because we only had to understand the code.
AI is supposed to do my dishes.
Yeah, that's what I found when I working in too many parallel tasks.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Call Talk. Today it's a little bit special episode because today it's the first time in English and also it's the first time with all these guys together, multiple developers. So yeah, let's discuss. And topic for today is how to not to get crazy working with AI, especially with Claude Code. So let's go and welcome guys.
Hey.
So, guys, roughly, how much of your work is done by AI?
Code changes now it's 97-98%.
So almost everything.
Yeah, only some very small stuff. Sometimes it's quicker just to change some readme or config than asking change this one line.
And are you using it for basically everything, or if you have some little bit one line, are you changing this one line, or just prompt it, change it?
Depends, yeah. Usually I prompt it, but sometimes when I'm getting out of tokens, I need to change.
Oh, also lazy like me. Oh, okay.
Yes, for example, like I had transition period when I committed pushed manually, but now I prefer to commit push with Claude because, for example, very often I did some typos, like stupid typos, and when I was reading message, I was right again. So when you prompt it, it doesn't make typos. Yeah, so
yeah, of course. And at least for me, Claude is making more and more better messages, comment messages than me. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my comment messages are absolute worst. I mean, there was like single word, like fix, and then try, read me, second try, why you're not working and stuff like that. So I mean, definitely prefer writing commits with Claude, but I would say I get 100% done with AI because I mean I completely forgot how to code manually at this point.
okay, so basically the main use case it's coding, of course, and but are you using it also for another thing? Is some designs or something?
Yes, sure. We are using superpowers, and basically what it does, you can plan your work ahead. At the first stage, you should be outputting something like a couple of README files. First one is, I believe, plan or design. That second is plan. You can correct me, guys, because I know for a fact that you are also using superpowers as well. So yeah, basically you have like a brainstorming with Claude Code, and then you just implement it. And we try to spend at least a couple of hours, if not days, to do like a proper planning because writing code right now is kind of obscure to do manually.
Yeah, so it's but for the planning, is it all the time you are using the plan mode or planning, or it's sometimes that okay, just do it without thinking, kind of?
Yeah, I mean, great question. I prefer to always use plan, even for smaller tasks, because the superpower has kind of baked in functionality for Claude Code to comprehend the code base, right? So it's less prone to do like hallucination or maybe do some things that you don't really want it to do. So, I mean, if it's a smaller task, then obviously you don't really have to spend hours planning, but still, I feel like the results are much better. I mean, at this point, I'm using it almost for everything.
How much time it's that it costs for you for this planning? Is it more of the whole execution of the prompt, or it's less, or how it's going with the plan?
I mean, my prompting is absolutely terrible, and I usually want Claude to figure it out by itself since it's so smart, right? So I'm not making it any easier for it, but yeah, I mean, that's what we are trying to do in my team, which is with my machine learning, is to spend uh like a serious amount of time at planning, and then the execution is just a couple of hours. You don't really have to be there when you have a almost perfectly written plan. So
Of course. What about you guys?
like I'm not coding as much anymore, but I use Claude for pretty much everything. I use it for brainstorming. I use it for writing ADR documents for architecture, like verification. Or for example, sometimes I am taking a look at some issue in production, and it's much easier to just ask Claude about something than to actually go and either find it in the code base or pretend that I know the answer. But my answer might not be correct because somebody thought that this is a bug and might have updated the code and in between. So yeah, I use it for this as well. And sometimes I also use it in my work just for the how would I call it? Like it's not brainstorming, but like let's take a look at the logs. Let's take a look at something through some connector and see whether you find something that is a little bit strange, anomalies, yes. And the last time I did that with Greylog, I found a bug that was there for like 2 weeks in production. So
And without support case.
and it was without support case because it was data related. It's technically not a well, it is a bug. It's a functionality that stopped working, but it was caused only for a single customer and only like because of the data has changed on the third party. So I would never have caught that myself, and customers they would like really have to pay attention that synchronization stopped working because of that one paper. And with code, I was like, okay, let's test if that Greylog MCP is working. And I told him like, okay, take a look at our service and see whether you find something strange. And he was like, okay, it started throwing errors at, I don't know, like 2 something weeks back. And I started prompting in, and then we realized that it's actually a bug on the third party service. So that's interesting also.
Yeah, it is definitely. And when you are doing something, is happening for you most of time or not? That it's a evening and you say that okay, just one prompt and then just one prompt and just one prompt and then it's 8 at the evening, then it's 9 in the evening and and midnight and so on. So
It happens to me a lot. Oh, it used to happen to me a lot, but then I realized that this is a new phenomenon for everybody. But like when I worked on something, how to say, your own project, just for fun, or you want to take a look at some MVP, and then it used to happen because I was super surprised because of the power that I had. Like I could create MVP within a day.
Yeah.
And then I had an MVP that would take me 2 weeks normally. And I wanted to just give one more functionality on top. And it took me like 10 minutes, let's say. And I had another idea and another idea. So it wasn't that code was misbehaving. It was me who was the problem, that I suddenly realized that few more prompts and I will have a better product. But that took me way over midnight, and I had to realize that you have to schedule time for like
It's gambler mentality, right?
yes.
One more round, I mean, to win this time.
And sometimes it's like it's misbehaving, and like yeah, if I hit it right in one more time and I write the proper prompt, it's going to know what I want, and then it's crazy.
did you ever had something like it's hallucinating? So basically that was main intention that okay, correct him and bring the value back. So it was one prompt and another prompt and another prompt. It was not kind of you that you want to see outcome and new idea, but it was hallucinating and you want to correct him and see the what you want to see, and it took to the midnight.
For sure, but I would say that I'm not sure whether I would call them hallucinations. Like I worked on some features that I knew exactly what I want to do, but the technicality was a very specific problem, and it wasn't very well documented. I had to come up with like a new idea, so I described what I want, but this was TypeScript problem, and I keep running into I work with EPUBs, and I keep running into like a very specific issue. No matter how I
tried to take a look at that problem. So it wasn't hallucinations. He actually tried to solve it, but the byproduct was that it was not as well good implementation as I wanted, because it had a it wasn't working correctly 100% of the time.
Yeah, as you wanted.
So I had to like come up with a different algorithm or different solution, and then we tried and tried and tried it. I talked to Gemini because I was like already crazy, and then I suddenly was able to fix it. By fixing it, I mean creating a better implementation. So it was my problem at the end of the day.
So basically, in this stage, it looks like that the thinking was harder than implementation and the work, basically.
Yeah, pretty much, yes. Yeah, I had tests in that project, I remember. So, well, in theory, all of those solutions should work at the first try. But then, well, EPUBs, like those are just like zipped HTML files, and you have so many edge cases that I didn't thought about. So the implementation was correct from the first try and second try, but it contained more and more and more complexity. So yeah,
that's interesting. And basically, in this situation, it was supposed to save time, but actually it took more time because you need algorithms and.
I would maybe put my opinion here. It's basically standard case. You face this even in past, but you are writing code yourself. But sometimes it's better just to take a break, go outside, take a sleep, and check in the morning. Yes, so
it's so hard to just let go.
so, yeah, but that's what you need to learn. Yes, so
Yeah.
you need something, maybe even switch task, clear your mind, and because
because sometimes it's just wasting of time.
yeah, you are in loop and trying. Oh, okay, just one more level, and I'll in the game.
Yeah. I mean, what I think would be great if there was a system. Imagine like you spend your 8 hours a day just planning, and then after work, the Claude starts to implement it by itself. And then if you log in next day in the morning, then you'll see the results, and then you can iterate on that, right? So you don't actually see the changes, because that's what draws you in my perspective, because the changes are almost instant, right? So you don't really have to look at it, right?
When I tried to work with it like that, I tried Codex, and it was like it ran on the code, and then I had to check out the branch. I was so annoyed because of that, because it created suboptimal solution, and then I had to check out, I had to pull, I had to rebuild, start testing, and like it took me so many time. I much rather prefer to work on 2-3 things in parallel and see live that we are making progress, and I can steer the ship much earlier. So I tried that, but it didn't work for me.
But it was easier for you to just stop working because you were frustrated, right?
It would be easier to stop working, yes. I would probably never finish that project.
Yeah, but 3 things in parallel. We are get back to the topic: how to not get crazy from code.
Yeah.
That's a good way to get crazy. Yeah, because that means like big context switching, and that's why we are talking today about this.
Yeah.
But Anthropic now helps us with this because they are cutting the token limits and down. So when I bring 3 tasks in parallel, I'm done in 2 hours.
But then you need to start kind of counting that. Okay, today morning, like if I start at 8, I have a token till 12, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking to create a routine to run at 7 a.m. because I start like 8:30. So I have 2 equal windows for the tokens.
What I am doing, it's I'm getting up at 4:40. So right away I turn on Claude this session, and then I'm going to gym. I have time for this session, so
Another.
yeah. It's basically at 10 in the morning, kind of. I have a new session, so new tokens, and I can work.
How much did you spend this month, guys? If you check the usage on the Claude.
We are using team plans.
Yeah, we have 10 plans.
So you don't really
You
have
can check the
Yeah, but I recently checked pricing for one bigger task, and it was like $100, just one task.
Yeah, close to $1,000 this month just on tokens.
Well, good.
So yeah, I mean,
I'm not
it gets expensive, but as the NVIDIA boss said, right? If the programmer doesn't spend at least half of their pay on tokens, then you should fire them. So I'm trying to my best.
I recently checked, but I do not so big, like maybe 2000 and
Double check, triple check. So
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. This
Couple
is
of-
rubbish.
I have a couple of terminals open, and we have this status bar, and there is how much money kind of we've spent, and I have from 7 this tabs. I have two about 200 kind of. So it's not just today's sessions or something, but
I mean, we had a problem that we should have unlimited cloth, right? But there was like a hard limit on 250. I'm not really sure whether that's Euro or USD. There was 250 of something, and I went through that in the first week in the month, and then I just didn't know well to continue working because, as I said, I forgot how to code manually entirely. So I don't know, like unpaid vacation for the rest in the month.
looking for a signing computer.
yeah, but that basically that means that we are working a lot, or kind of Claude is working a lot. That we are spending a lot of tokens. But are we creating some tech depth with this, or it's a really very cool code or clean code? So it's better than the developers when did it. So how it-
Depends. I mean, it really depends. Our code base consists of Golang, which is not maybe that popular. For example, Python. Not really sure with the C# guys. How do you feel about that? But sometimes the Go code is not perfect.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, you are there to take the responsibility still. So you should be checking it properly. But I would say it's maybe 50-50. I mean, it really depends on your prompting because you are the visionary, right? You still have the initial idea, and it's up to you how well can you prompt it out.
Yeah, but you mentioned at the beginning like the commit messages.
Mhm.
And I pretty much do the same, let everything run by Claude. But that includes the commit messages. And I actually realized when you were discussing that I haven't read my commit messages in a while.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know if they're good or not. And then you spoke about plans and stuff that also generates. What I often do is it generates some MD or HTML file for me to review, and I usually ask it for summary in the terminal. So I'm always like slimming down on this and kind of losing control, I think. So this is
We're living in AI slop edge, right? So
Yeah.
we are becoming basic, but we should be aware of that and not to try. And especially planning mode, I try to be like really carefully read what's in the plan. I don't check code like fully. Yeah, so like I try to find important parts. If you already know, okay, this is DTO. I don't care. This is
Those
some
classes they don't matter. Like,
yeah, so I found okay, these classes are probably important, so I check this. But for plan, I try to be really careful. Sometimes I don't, but it's very specific because sometimes it's task where I'm not really sure how would I implement this. And in this case, what's great with Claude or other agents, I just start and see code and get other ideas, and then I have okay, we did this, and now do little bit opposite, check what you done, and you can do like 3 experiments very quickly, compare solutions, and then decide. Okay,
yeah, and
and I think it was even mentioned by Boris from Boris Cherny, Permantropic, that sometimes he does how he uses Claude.
Yeah.
Check how you implemented it, and now when with everything we know, implement it from scratch with cream wheel, how to say.
yeah, and as I said, basically, what do you think? What is the real output versus just activity on this? Because a lot of times you are planning, trying to do something, create pull request, but then you realize that it's not good, and just okay, shift it, and once again,
It depends on the task. So where I see really huge gain is some kind of, let's call it dev experience of dev tooling. For example, now migrating from TeamCity to GitHub Actions, or creating basics for in your integration tests using test containers. So this is not really production code. So even if code is not perfect, if it's 95% okay, it's okay, because then
still
yeah. For production code, if the tests if you don't have end-to-end tests for your system, or not proper integration tests, or how whatever, you need to be very careful. So this can create bottleneck.
Mhm.
Yeah, so even if you can generate many PRs that are waiting for test, you will not get like real.
Yeah, but like if you are proficient enough with the code, you know whether this is pure garbage or not. And I think that it doesn't matter anymore whether whether it's named something DTO or something underscore DTO.
Yeah.
Those details don't matter anymore because who needs to read this?
Yeah.
It's just, of course, you don't want like proper slope that's spaghetti code and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But if it's adhering to your well architecture or internal structure, and it's not like it even optimized the code like fairly good. But like if it's not the total garbage, then like I don't mind.
I think we're way past that point. It doesn't really help with garbage
No,
anymore.
no.
Under any circumstances.
Yeah, that's true.
Some developers can produce bigger garbage.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. And basically, then it means we are faster in the producing of code and so on. And so, yeah, how it's in your teams kind of, or how it's with you, you need to do code reviews for others developers. And do you have time for it, or how it's going for you guys? Because yeah, previously you had per 1 week 2 PRs, let's say, and now you have per hour 2 PRs, new and new and new.
Yeah, that's the issue, and that's where the mindset needs to shift. So we need to spend more time on planning and review, and probably also on testing,
So we are
because we don't need to write that code.
I think testing is the most important part.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, code review can be automated.
yeah, you can see that what people are doing, that they are not checking it manually. They are just talking to Claude that it should review that pull request, and that adds zero value. So technically, if the pipeline is green, like just merge it.
Yeah.
And we have to have proper end-to-end tests, proper all levels of tests, and QA process. And that's why I really like that we are using these expanding contract and feature switches and stuff like that. So you don't have to be scared to go fast to production.
You need to be careful, but yeah, not.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, careful, of course. Like you don't want to break stuff, but
Yeah, and that's what we are also doing on our project. We are investing more now, starting to work more on end-to-end tests, and even bringing some developers to help with this. So
yeah, these days it's makes sense because yeah, you can produce code for 2-3 developers at the same time, kind of, but not to test and so on. So yeah.
I mean, I 100% agree because that process of testing doesn't really differ that much from if you write the code manually, right? Because you still need to pass those tests, and then you still are never 100% sure that you forgot maybe something, maybe introduce some bugs, and you still have to safely predict that this is not going to break anything, right? So I mean, I don't see any difference between manually coding and coding with AI, because well, I think also that in the future you will be only spending some time on planning and then testing. You don't really have to do the review code because you can assume that if all tests pass, that everything is okay.
Yeah, code review is more like solution review now.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the
From logical side, it kind of.
yeah. Also, devs should stop reviewing now the some nitpicking SO because when we already code SO close.
but I like the Linux take. I'm not sure if you heard about it, but there was one guy in that community who said like writing code is the most enjoyable part and it was the easiest part. Knowing what to write and knowing how to read the code, this is what we should optimize because that is actually hard. I really like that take because it's like shifting it from other way around. Obviously, it's hard to write code when you're creating something out of scratch, but if you have a critical system, and I have a question, because there was discussion, heated debate in that community, like imagine you have a critical system and I submit a pull request and you have 2 pull requests. One was AI assisted and other was not. Would your PR review be different for those 2?
Yeah.
How?
As a person?
Yes,
You
well,
are as a
you
person,
you
yeah,
are
yeah.
responsible maintainer for that critical piece of code, how would you take a look at those two different pull requests?
You could probably check the human one a bit more thoroughly, I guess.
A bit more?
Yeah.
I would say, like in team, it also depends on who did this.
Yeah, of
Yeah, because
course.
some
Yeah, you know,
you rely on someone
teammates,
else.
yeah.
Okay, this guy, he does good work, so it's even bad. It was bad approach, but that's what we did. Okay, he knows what he's doing. I just click approve.
Yeah.
Yes, so here.
Okay. And he's gonna write the incident report or something.
Yeah.
But on that his debate, the argument was other way around. Like, if I knew that it's written by an engineer who I like admire to, and I know he is considering all the edge cases, I could trust him a bit more. And if I know that it was AI assisted, I would look at it more thoroughly.
Okay, yeah.
Depends on the models, I would say. If it's ChatGPT 4.1, then yeah, I would check more thoroughly. But and then who's the guy? Yeah. But if he's just he could make a simple mistake in a code that you would not think there could be a mistake, and probably AI would not make a mistake there.
Yeah, and a couple times I saw that basically the AI was seeing those edge cases better and than developer and me. So
Yeah, but
was
for
helpful.
example, for AI, I still am now quite checking tests because sometimes their assertions, what they
Yeah.
put there,
Yeah, absolutely true.
yeah, collection not empty. Yeah, so okay, that's
Yeah, pass.
It's that situation, right? I'm failing test, fix it. Okay, deleted test. All is well now.
That's for me interesting because I open a review and I just tests put out of the way. So I just AI took a shot, then developer will hopefully test it live, and then I just don't care about the test. I care about the idea, and I think these kind of things like
I heard many stories what Claude said. Delete the test or delete the sessions. Yes,
Yeah.
so now I'm
This test case is okay. Just delete.
I
or
consider
just ignore it. Yeah.
It's explicit and that's it.
I mean, it happens more often than I would like to, honestly. But yeah, it's probably just prompting that you can improve on.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, as we spoke, we are generating more and more code. But what about juniors developers? Basically, they will produce kind of same code as a senior, kind of. And is it okay, or how they will implement it? How they will test it?
Can they understand this? Would be my question number one. If not, then honestly, why would we have a junior developer in a team that only does prompting, right, and doesn't really understand what's going on and cannot properly assess the output? Then it kind of feels like a useless team member.
Vibe coder.
Honestly, yeah, vibe coder, right? Don't call yourself a developer anymore.
but you can only manage so many tabs with Claude. That's sometimes a problem. We discussed that you have a side project and sometimes having like 5 plus, maybe 10 tabs open. You cannot manage that many.
Don't get me wrong. I think that the AI is bringing the software development closer to people, and that is perfectly fine. If you have an idea, and before AI you can realize it because you don't really have money to spend on developers to create you a POC or a demo, you can do it yourself with a couple of tens of euros of tokens on Claude Code, and that's perfectly fine. But I mean, if we are talking about the production code, then I would love to work with someone who actually understands what's going on.
Yep. I'm on your team. Like, I had never written a single production assembly, but I do like when people understand that there is this CPU and that it has registers and instructions and that there is a memory and stuff. So you don't have to be able to write it, but at least some engineering is required to properly assess and think about solutions. So probably AI prompting or it's just another level of programming language. It doesn't matter in which technology you are writing code, sure. But I could be writing C#, yet I have to think about the lower level issues. Not always, not all the time. It depends on what is my value, right? Like, if it's a critical system, then I need to be sure. If it's just MVP for like dating app, that's for cats. What the hell?
Okay.
Yeah. Now you don't need to know how to write, I don't know, algorithm
Yeah.
for bit retraversal or whatever. But if you are working on some performance issues on database, and Claude will ask you, should I use this or this because this is
Yeah.
this kind of index, you should at least be able to know or understand what he is talking about and asking.
And I really like that because it comes closer to like my architectural background. I know a lot of stuff, but not of those stuff are in detail because I can't, right?
Yeah, but when he's asking, you should be okay.
Yeah,
now
at
now
least
do research
really,
yourself, or
yeah.
maybe discuss him to explain.
Yeah.
But just don't blindly trust that. Okay,
Yeah,
let's go.
that's the
And,
better.
and maybe back to junior developer. So we still need to. What's the word? Yeah, but maybe we are seniors here, but we were with juniors as well. So we still need to bring juniors to company. But that's difficult question how they should start. For example, I suggested to one guy, okay, let's do one task manually and maybe two tasks with Claude. So you still get your hands dirty with the code and get experience. And also education at the, schools and universities will be quite difficult now. But that's place where you need to know maybe more.
Yeah, but as you said, basically one manual task, two with coded or AI. Basically, it's not only about learning the code as it is, but also this code base and what you are working on. So
Yeah, my knowledge.
yeah,
And very soon in the future, you might find that junior is cheaper than Claude. So,
Yeah, and maybe we need to maybe bring a little bit this learning or education to be more this like focus on architecture view and maybe higher level and estimating impact of changes, like not really level coding. Yeah, so what happens if I put I don't know volatile keyword in the
yeah. Basically, that's what I wanted to ask. So, do we need to force them to learn? Because yeah, prompting is kind of easy, but do we need to force them to learn C# and let's say other languages?
I still don't know about garbage collection. Not how to garbage collector, but what it's for and how to do analyze performance and.
I think honestly, we had it much easier than juniors right now because they only had to understand the code. And they need to understand the code and to understand how to prompt it, how to work with Claude Code because I'm not really sure what's the situation in other companies, but I think in Visma we all are using AI assistants to some extent. And when I work with junior colleagues and developers, I always force them to understand at least the basics first of what's going on, and then we are trying to come up with the ideas how to merge the AI world with the old school programming world, and how to make them proficient in both. And that's the hardest part because we didn't really have to do it. I mean, I was looking at the error messages at Stack Overflow, and the last time I visited that website was like maybe 3 years ago. I don't even know what it looks like anymore.
Yeah, that's not only Stack Overflow, but Google search basically. So
that too.
Well, you need to save your tokens.
so it's something.
That's another thing. Yeah, I mean, if you really care about the environment, then you should be spending much less tokens, right?
Yeah, and basically then there's the questions then when do you not use AI or how to not to get crazy for the AI. So do you have some routines that okay, it's 4 o'clock I'm closing the laptop and that's it, or
I wish, honestly. But that hasn't happened for a while. I mean, I definitely have the gambler mentality because you can work at multiple things at the same time, right? And that's very, very tempting not to do.
yeah, but even when I close the laptop, basically I'm just thinking about okay, that's this terminal is this prompt and this will be really nice. So after 5 minutes I'm opening back and prompting. So
that's why we should have like a mobile app. Look, you could prompt from your mobile phone anytime you have an idea, and then you would be working 24/7.
But I don't recommend to use it.
I'm using it and I don't recommend.
There's remote control. Yeah. So I was reading that articles about Spotify, how they did something around Claude Code and how they can remotely now control everything. And I was thinking, where the guys rest is. So
I hope I forget about that information.
I tried once in the gym, basically remote control. So I left the laptop open, a remote control session, and in the gym prompting. I built feature, but yeah, it was my body in the gym, but by the head.
Yeah, but
Was
long term your head.
outside,
You have
really.
to start enjoying life.
Yeah.
Like AI is supposed to do my dishes and stuff that I don't like, so I can do stuff that I enjoy.
Is it done? Is it done?
Yeah, I really like the productivity stuff. I'm 100% into AI, but like I'm here on this planet to like I don't want to die by like just writing prompts.
Prompting.
I want to enjoy stuff, and you cannot enjoy stuff if you are working or thinking about it. So
Yeah, that's what I found when I working in too many parallel tasks, too many context switching. So it takes me quite a lot of time after I close laptop to clean my head. So yeah, I go to bicycle or running, and then I still think. So I stop. My trick is also put note in the notes just to not have it in head. So that little bit helps me. But then I learned, okay, for example, I'm going to finish at 5, so already 1 hour before I stop, let's say, planning, because you start. I was starting some planning, some bigger task, and then I closed laptop and I said, okay, but should I go that way or that way? What solution should I choose?
And the remote session you tend to disconnect, by the way, so that's a probably good thing.
All right, so I think it's a good place to stop there and wrap it up. So thank you everyone for the discussion. It was really nice, and thanks for listening. And we can see you together in the next episode.
And
Bye.
And what get crazy from close code?
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.